guys, Kathy here. This is my first cooking video, so excuse me if I mess a few things up in how I talk, but anyways, today I'm gonna be making some chicken andouille sausage gumbo. Now, gumbo usually has seafood and stuff in it, but I don't really make it with seafood right now because my mom can't eat it, so anyways, but you can add shrimp to this if you want to. Now, your first step, you gotta get a pound of andouille sausage. You cut it into 1/4-inch pieces. So like if you stacked like 4 quarters up on a table or something, that's about how thick it should be. And then it'll take a moment for the pan to heat up. So now, once it's all heated up, you gotta stir your sausage around and spread it out a little bit because it might stick together if it's in a bowl or something. So you gotta brown the sausage for it takes about 7 to 10 minutes. It depends. So if you put the skillet on too high, then it'll cook it really fast, and like you don't want it too fast because you don't want the meat to burn. Now, you hear that sizzle? That means it's working. Now the sausage is already seasoned, so you don't really have to put any type of seasoning in there if you don't want to. And besides, we already have some other seasoning that we're putting in there a little later, so you don't want it too spicy or anything if you know somebody that you're making it for and they don't like spicy. So now it has to be andouille sausage because any other type of sausage will throw off the flavor of everything else. So the andouille sausage, it's a little bit sweet, but like it's a tangy sausage too. So it's something that's perfect for anything that you're making Cajun that calls for the sausage. So you don't substitute for anything else because it won't taste right. So if you're making gumbo, then andouille sausage is the way to go. Now, if you try to make another part of the recipe while this is going, you could if you wanted to, but like everything's got to be done in a sequence, so stuff isn't like overcooking. So gotta make sure the sausage is brown so it's not gonna make anybody sick later. Now it doesn't have a ton of fat in it, but like it's good to like drain the sausage off when it's finished, so that it's not so greasy and like it's messes with the texture with everything. So now, because this is different from ground beef or ground pork or anything like that, it cooks a little different. So you gotta like flip the sausages over constantly so that they cook evenly. So we're coming in at 5.5 minutes, so should be another minute or two before these are ready to go in the pan. In the big pan, like you need a Dutch oven, which is looks something like this. So, I mean, it looks like it's something you would normally like make pasta or something in, but it works good for something like this. So we'll get to that in a minute. Alright, coming in at 6 minutes, so this should be done. Now that that's browned, we're gonna turn off this separate skillet. So now you're going to keep it in this skillet for right now while we heat up our next ingredient in the big Dutch oven. So what you're gonna do is take your Dutch oven, put it on your stove, and then you turn it to medium heat, just like you did with the sausage. Now this comes a tricky part because it's not tricky because this oil mixture, you do not want to burn it while you're. It takes about 18 to 20 minutes for the mixture. So we got our oil here. Now, a lot of gumbo recipes will call for peanut oil, but if you don't have peanut oil or if somebody's allergic to peanuts, some good substitutes are vegetable oil, grapeseed oil. So I've got grapeseed oil here. Now, it'll still be the same amount, which is a half cup of oil. So now oils do have different flavors and stuff, but grapeseed oil still works good for a gumbo like this. So now that you gotta have your pan heated, so you put your oil in there, and then you take a 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I'd recommend have it pre-sifted. So the gold medal flour, it's called gold medal for a reason. A lot of people use that in their baking, so that's gold medal is the best brand for flour. So now 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, so you put that in with your oil. There we go. Now because it's of the type of pan this is, it's better to have like a silicone whisk so it doesn't like scratch your pan or anything. So hey guys, I'm back now that I redid the flour and oil. So again, it's half cup of oil, either peanut oil or grapeseed oil, maybe vegetable oil. I haven't tried vegetable oil yet, but okay. So you gotta wait for the oil to get hot first. I mean, it sounds like you'd be frying something right now, but not actually. Alright, now that the oil's hot, you gradually whisk in the flour. If you're using a dial, an oven that has like dials on it, probably 3 or 4 for right now. So 3 and 4, maybe 5 is medium heat. So you gradually whisk in your flour. I put a little bit in there and whisk it. And that's a tricky part because you don't want to burn the mixture. You want to put some of your flour in there, whisk it around a little bit, add some more. Now it'll look like a paste when you look at it, but like once it's been heated a little bit, it'll not be a paste. Because we don't want a pasty gumbo, because people will not eat it that way. Yeah, you do not want to pour in the flour and stuff all at once like I did. So, excuse me for making mistakes. Alright, now all your flour's in there. Now when you're making this mixture with the flour and the oil, now you're supposed, once you whisk it in, you have to cook the mixture, and you whisk it constantly for 18 to 20 minutes. So we'll be back in the next part. Okay guys, I'm back. So now that we have the flour and oil mixture, it's been 18 to 20 minutes, so now that that's been cooking, we then reduce the heat to low. And then we keep whisking it for another 2 minutes. So, still don't want to burn it though, because you don't want burnt gumbo. Now it looks weird right now, but we're gonna add some other stuff later that will change it up a bit and like make it not so pasty and all that right now. Okay, now that that's done, you'll take your onions. Now you'll take, it's 1 large onion. The white one is best because it's more of a tangy flavor that will add to all the other spices that we're gonna put in here. So 1 large onion, you coarsely chop it, and then you add it to your flour and oil mixture. And then your next 4 ingredients are going to be red bell pepper, celery, garlic, and your Cajun seasoning. So now you take with the red bell pepper, you chop up 1 red bell pepper. You coarsely chop it like you did with the onion. It doesn't matter which color it is. It can be green, red, yellow. Not really much of a difference there. So now you add that to your mixture. Now, instead of whisking, you're going to stir it this time. So you grab your spoon and stir it up. Okay, now once you stirred that a little bit, now you're going to take your 1 cup of celery. Now, as onions, bell pepper, and celery is... Now, if you ever hear somebody in Louisiana talking about the Holy Trinity when they're cooking, that's the onion, bell pepper, and celery. So that's some of the main ingredients of your gumbo. Besides the sauce and chicken, you know, everything goes together. So now you're gonna take the mixture and stir it. And now, when you're measuring out your seasoning, you take the 2 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning. I would recommend the Slap Ya Mama seasoning. It's like a blend of like pepper and some black pepper and garlic. So this is the best kind to use. Now you sprinkle it in there. And you increase your heat to medium while you're cooking this mixture, so everything will cook evenly. Okay, now that you got your seasoning in there, you'll take 2 cloves of garlic, you mince it, not chop it, you mince it so it's like all little tiny pieces, because if it's like too big, then it won't go as far in the gumbo. So you take your garlic and then you sprinkle it in with the rest of the mixture. So I'll stuff my spoon there. Let me take Now you cook this for about 3 minutes. You stir it constantly though. You don't want to leave it sit. Now this recipe does have an option for ground red pepper, but it's that part of the recipe only says an 1/8 teaspoon. So I substitute the 1/8 teaspoon of ground red pepper for more of the Slap Ya Mama seasoning. So okay, now that that's all done, you're gonna take a 48-ounce container of chicken broth, and you're using the whole container for this recipe. So open it up. Now, like with the flour and everything, you just gradually stir it in. Now you gotta be careful because you don't want to like squirt all over the place while you're trying to put it in. And you only put a little bit in at a time, so. Now this is where it starts to get interesting because it was all a paste before, but now with the broth and stuff, it makes it so it's more like a little bit thick. There you go. Keep going. Now it's starting to look a little bit more like gumbo. This will be good when it's done. Now Cajun food is my specialty. I mean, that's some of my favorite stuff to make. So, but I've never actually made gumbo before, but I've made some other things. Now you're gonna put a little bit more, some more chicken broth in there. Keep going until the container is empty. Now this whole recipe is going to yield about 10 cups. So if you're feeding like a family of 4 or something, that'll be just enough. It's just me and my mom, so I don't always make something big, but sometimes I share it with the neighbors and stuff like that. So it's always good to share with other people. So keep going with the chicken broth. Keep stirring. Careful not to get any all over the place. Now when you're cooking and stuff, it's okay if it gets a little messy. Just keep stirring. Now add more chicken broth in here. Again, when you're gradually, it says you gotta gradually stir it in. Like put a little bit in there, stir it up. So keep that in mind while you're doing this. Don't put it in all at once. Now once you've got all the chicken broth in, stir it up a little bit more. And then increase your heat to medium-high. So that will be, if you're using a dial, then that's about 7 to 8 on the dial, so right there. And now you got to bring the mixture to a boil. So you're gonna pause for a moment and let that boil. Once it's boiling, I'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm back. So it's almost ready to, it's almost boiling. So while that's going, you take your chicken, you open up the package and stuff. So you use 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast. So and you gotta be careful when you're working with raw meat, so you don't get it. So you don't get like all the juices all over the counter and stuff, but even then you'll have to wipe up the counter afterwards, so it'll be fine. But we're going to shred up the chicken later, so it's okay to put it in like it is. Now, you take the chicken, put it in there. Now this package is about 2.5 pounds, so your last chicken breast, you'll probably want to cut it in half. So that's only a 1/2 pound. So there's not too much in there. Okay, now you got this chicken in here, you stir up a little bit more. Looks good, smells good. I'll probably add a little bit, just a tiny bit more spice. You don't want to make it too spicy though. But once it's like almost finished, I'll put that in. And then you're going to take the sausage that you made earlier once it's been like all drained and all that, you take it in there and you spoon it in there from your other pan. Okay, now you got your sausage in here. It's like almost up to the top of the pan, so be careful when you're stirring so you don't like slop it everywhere, all over the counter and all that, because you don't want too much of a mess. But hey, I mean, it's okay to be messy when you cook, so, but just be careful and you just make sure to clean up after you're done. Especially since you're working with raw meat here, because you don't want to get sick or anything later, so keep that in mind. Okay, so now we're going to stir that up a little bit, fold it in. Now you already have it on medium-high, so you're going to leave it and so that it'll go to a boil. So we'll be back once it starts boiling. Hello again. Now that we've got all this boiling, we're going to stir it up a couple more times. Now, it's been stirred a little bit, so now you gotta reduce your heat to low. Now this is the longest part of the recipe, so put your heat on low. Stir it up a little bit more. Make sure you get it all even. Okay, now that it's been stirred, once you reduce your heat to low, you're going to leave it to simmer for about an hour and 30 minutes to an hour and 40 minutes or until the chicken's done. So it takes a while because you gotta cook the chicken and everything. You don't want raw chicken in your gumbo. So leave that to simmer for an hour and 30 minutes and we'll be right back. Now that the stuff's been cooking for a while, so after an hour or 30 minutes of it being on low, and the chickens, you gotta check to make sure the chicken's done. So in this case, it's already done, so you don't have to check it with a thermometer or anything. So now you just gotta shred it up with 2 forks. You don't have to shred it into like little tiny pieces. They can be a little bit bigger, but not like overly huge because you got to make it go farther. Okay, now that it's been shredded, you can pair the gumbo with rice or potatoes or anything like that. So now that you shredded it and everything, now it's finished. So you got your gumbo. You can still use the peanut oil if you wanted to, but it may be a little bit different color, but it'll still taste the same. So thanks for watching, and I'll make another dish sometime soon.